I trust that you are following the introduction of the assignment, creating a roadmap for you and how you're going to track your learning and how you're going to present your evidence and why and on what basis. The basis is a criteria, and what's going to help you to do that is the way the assignment is designed. And the key point we discuss is holistic assessment. Okay? We have looked at the criteria by criteria, the source, and also the corresponding criteria in other units, and how we mix them so that we create an assignment fit for purpose. Now, we're going to look at the brief, the scenario that's going to guide you. For each of these scenarios created is to help you thinking, to stimulate your understanding of the whole scope of assessment and how it works. We'll create a scenario for you. By and large, I'd like you to think about your work environment. If you're not in employment yet, just follow the scenario itself to guide you. So the context in which we define these things is not exclusive, but it does guide you on how you can go to your destination of becoming a qualified assessor. Now, let's read the assignment brief together. I'm sure by now you've got a printout in front of you. If you haven't received this printout yet, you need to contact us as soon as possible. Email us through the website that you can see running across the screen, or simply phone the tutor whom we've allocated to you. Okay, let's read through this. Right. Assignment brief number 1. We're going to go through the assignment number 1. Let's have a look. The assignment brief. The manager of your training center has done what? Wishes to send you to carry out assessment in a given workplace. The manager of the workplace of the learners wants, I'll read that again, I beg your pardon. The manager of the workplace of the learners wants details in form of a short report of what assessment is all about. You might have more than one learner. That's why it's plural there. Sometimes it's one per institution, sometimes it could be more than that in a real work environment. Now, therefore, you are requested by your manager to produce a word processed document of not more than 1,500 words, which means here the product you're required to produce is that report, or an audio video record, an audio or video record addressed to the named workplace where you will be assessing the learners. So here you can either record yourself on a dictaphone explaining what assessment is all about, or video record yourself, like here seeing me standing here, you in front of a video, a camera, begin to talk about what assessment is, the process of assessment. And when you're using a video recording, the amount of information you give out there must be equivalent to 1,500 words. And how you do this is you to follow exactly the assessment criteria as indicated here. So in that recording, you must be covering all these points from there to there to there, if that's how you're going to present the evidence. So you must cover all these criteria in your presentation. We continue. It says, now the document or an audio video record must cover a wide range of topics in a sequential order. Now, to cover the principles and function of assessment, legal issues, the learner needs and choice of appropriate assessment methods, and how you communicate with the learners. Now, in order for you to synthesize a report covering these things, you must look at what these criteria are actually asking you to produce. So the evidence you produce here, must, I beg your pardon, the evidence you produce here must cover the assessment. I'll just do something over here to show you what I mean. I say evidence. The evidence. I beg your pardon. Let me just enlarge this one. The evidence. I use this. The evidence. Okay. The evidence, which is either a Word document, must do what? Must cover all the given criteria. So because the criteria is the foundation upon which you'll be assessed and graded. Okay, you'll be graded either in our work. We try by all means. Let me just say it as it is. There's no issues here. You'll be graded either pass if it's a final assessment or fail. But in the interim, I hope here I'll just do a referral. You understand? A referral for improvement in the interim. So there is formative and summative assessment. Now, if we do a formative assessment, we will carry out. We will do a referral here for formative assessment. Yeah. Formative, and then there'll be summative. It's the completion of our whole thing. You understand? So you either pass, be referred if there's ample time for you to do the corrections, or fail if you completely refuse to do the corrections. Now, the point I'm trying to say to bring across to you is that as you try to produce the evidence as requested, you must follow exactly what the criteria asks for you. So the evidence must be based on the requirements stipulated in the assessment criteria. Study the criteria very carefully and understand them very well before you present your work for final assessment. Now, if you are working with a very good tutor and assessor, you can be having one-to-one sessions whereby you find that you investigate whether you're on the right path or not. And this is where now the assessor can also give you feedback. The candidate record sheet, which is in your pack, is the one that will be required when you meet with your tutor in the interim to go through what you're producing and also to get further guidance. You understand this? Excellent. Now we proceed. Further, in this assessment, and now let me say this as I proceed. You know, the beauty of this course is that although sometimes it becomes a bit confusing because you're an assessor and you're on the assessor's course and you'll be assessing another student, whatever I do to you, you also do to a candidate. Now let me say this. When we come to a place whereby you're going to design an assessment, this introduction can help you. If that assessment will be a written assessment like this one, this is how possibly you can structure it. It's got the requirements, the name, etc., the assignment brief, what you're supposed to produce. Now, let us now look at this. Okay. So we continue. Where were we? Yes. Have we? This is assignment 1. Oh, sorry, I got to assignment 3. Assignment 1. I was on assignment 1. I was going to say, hey, what's happened? 1. Right. Let's start. We ended there, yeah? We go there. Now, let me start from there. The document or an audio or video. Now, while we give you options, is to create a wide range of assessment methods and how you can produce. We want to be inclusive and apply equal opportunities. It's not everyone who's going to type 1,500 words. It doesn't mean you're not competent. No, it simply your preference of communication is different from others. Others might choose to do a PowerPoint presentation or a video recording or audio recording. Any of these range of presentations are acceptable as long as you produce an equivalence of information that will cover these criteria. Can you see that this is the basis for you to pass or fail? But once you cover this completely, there's no way you can fail. You always pass. So the idea for us to include a wide range of methods is to create that equal opportunity so that every single person is able to undertake this work. No one is disadvantaged. Everyone finds their own feet and so forth. Are you happy with this? I'll proceed very quickly. Where we go now? So, you see, the learner's needs must be put into context, and you're going to find this learner needs at initial assessment, and the choice of appropriate assessment methods. Also, in the initial assessment, where you meet, if you meet a learner for the first time, you must do an initial assessment so that you can find out how best they learn and how they would like to be assessed as well. And apply also a wide range of assessment methods. This is another topic we'll come into when we go into the actual teaching. So it's very important here, and how you will communicate with the learners. Very important. How do you wish to communicate with the learners? I beg your pardon. How do you wish to communicate with the learners? That's very important. Now, here, on communicating with the learners, there are two aspects. Few aspects that you have to consider. Let me just very quickly bring some things that are fundamental. There is A, that is, I beg your pardon, I think I clicked on something which I shouldn't have. Yes. Yes. Communicating with the learners, if I've got A, B, and C, these are different learners. So the way I communicate with B and A and C, although the common thing is communication, can't be, and I said can't be the same. You must understand. So in your planning, can't be the same. You must find out the best way to communicate with each of these learners. Therefore, you're going to be a very good assessor. Why do I say so? Okay, if somebody is got hearing impairments, how are you going to communicate? Doesn't mean they can't be on a course. They can be on a course and study whatever they want, equal opportunities, and it's inclusive. So you devise a way of how you are going to employ methods of communication between, as varied from candidate A, candidate B, candidate C. So in your assessment plan, it's going to be personalized. That's the point. You're going to personalize it and also contextualize, put its own context. If you're assessing somebody in the work environment, and that work environment entails that there's other people working and etc., there's business around them, but they've got to be in that environment, how do you intend to communicate with them while you're observing them and you're going to be giving them feedback? Sometimes it could be they're in a quieter environment. Sometimes it could be that they are not required in that place to talk loudly. The best thing they can do is maybe they can read. So a wide range of things that you're going to look at. So as an assessor, you're not just doing one piece of work, but you're looking at all areas of a human endeavor: communication, suitability of the material, the language level, and so forth. Are you happy with that? Excellent. So now, having gone through assignment 1 would have been the same thing that in terms of structure we consider in assignment 2 and assignment 3. But I'll just go to them to just show you some kind of connection in terms of the holistic assessment. Now before I do that, let me very quickly carry you through. Here we go. Yes, so once you deal with all these aspects, this is a quite important part to you. Now, points to note. The materials must cover relevant criteria as in table 1. I've just explained that. That's very important. Everything that you do there must cover those criteria there. Define a specific workplace, e.g. nursing home, construction site, etc., where you will be carrying out assessment by stating the type of learner you are assessing. If you are going to apply your assessment skills to a health and social care or hospital or site, a construction site, or as a case might be, you will tell us. This is why in the assignment brief it's open-ended. You must tell us the environment and the context. Then we proceed. Identify and name at least 2 specific learners. That's very important. Consider the health and safety issues or the specific workplace you choose. Right. Now, we are assuming here that all candidates will eventually do the assessing learners, the competence of learners in the work environment. There is a unit which that some people might want not to take, assessing learners' competence in the work environment, and that's fine. Others want to take everything. So whether or not you want to take them as a case might be, there's that kind of link to all sorts of assessment. No pressure upon you. You qualify as according to the level that you have enrolled on. If it's Unit 1 only, you'll be given the award. If it's Unit 2 only, you'll be given that award. That's what's important. Okay, but we have to create opportunity for everyone to be able to excel. I proceed here. This is very critical now. Evidence to hand in. Now, when we say evidence to hand in, I'll just grab a folder here. At the end of the day, we want every kind of person to come with a folder. Open folder like that, with a lot of evidence put in. So here, for example, this candidate has a lot of evidence, and I think the candidate also produced a video recording and put them on the CD, so it's there. They put them in the folder, and they also reference it. They had to reference it so that in the index we can find where this evidence is in the folder. That's what we're going to hand in. And then there are other pieces of evidence also they included in, because that's what we require every single candidate to do. So when we bring a folder, in the other introduction I showed you how these folders look like. So that one is open. I opened for a purpose because there's a reference material I'm looking at there. So in that folder, you bring the evidence required, but we are going to name the evidence. What are you going to submit? What are you going to hand in? Here, it's very clear. Number 1, a Word document or voice video recording equivalent to that. So if it's a Word document, two pages. 2 pages of A4 will satisfy, as long as they cover the components of the criteria there. If it's a video recording, burn it on the disk or put on the memory stick in a format where we can access it. And the sound must be clear. If it's visual, it must also be clear, so we see exactly what you're telling us and what you're showing us in the clip. Are you with me? And also, we want you to hand in an assessment plan for each learner. An assessment plan for each learner. There is a template that you can use. Probably it might be on the disk if you have already got it. Otherwise, go to the coursework center. There are templates you can use there. Or you can use an appropriate template that you can create by yourself, as long as it's got the elements that are essential when we go through the materials. So you hand in an assessment plan. This is possibly going to be a word process document or a spreadsheet, but covering components of the plan. Just very quickly, to go back here, evidence of initial assessments on learners and a support plan based on the initial screening outcomes. Right. I'll show you a template very quick which we use in the college. It might be that you adopt the same system, but it needs to be slightly different from the one we use, because the one we use for other programs like entrepreneurship, professional business development, are designed to find out certain information based on the business background. So the initial assessment must include certain things such as key skills or functional skills, as well as the knowledge of the discipline or prior learning on this kind of course they are on, etc. We'll go into the nitty-gritty later in the session. So that assessment plan must be provided. How is it going to be presented? It's a Word document or a spreadsheet. You can use a spreadsheet to design that. People are very good at using that, but it must be a piece of document. If I open your folder, I must find a piece of document like this called initial assessment per candidate. I must find another attachment saying the assessment plan for the candidate. Are you with me? So things like that. That's the evidence you produce. Are you with me? Sorry, I beg your pardon. We've not been very creative in terms of, I for one I can confess, I've not been creative in the way I do an issue assessment. Maybe because of the nature of materials I've got to keep. For example, I can do an issue assessment, an issue assessment by asking the candidate to allow me, by signing a document of consent to be recorded. I have got a set of questions in front of me. I ask them verbally, they answer me verbally, and we are recording. That initial assessment, then I go home to write a report on it. That could be another way of doing an initial assessment, rather than asking the candidate to fill a form complete and tick. And remember, I talked about the way you communicate. So for each of these, I'd like to innovate this. Just think through how best you can make your learning exciting. Okay. So once you do this assignment, we're going to give it to you. This is how it's organized, and this is what you're going to hand in. Now, the assignments must conclude with this. Must have assessment release date. When is this assessment given to a candidate? Why do we have to include that date? Because we want to know when it's given to you, and the duration, which will be indicated by the submission date. So this is your final deadline. Minimum for certain pieces of work is 2 weeks, then it can go on and on in terms of feedback, etc., etc. It depends on the size of the assignment. If it's very big, you might need a longer period. If it's a small assignment, shorter period. Author name, Dr. John Lukomona, put my title and the qualifications relevant to this work. I've got more qualifications than this, but you don't need to show everything. You show what's relevant to the work. These are assessors' qualification. In our time, it was D32, D33, D34, etc. In your time, they are called different names. There was a time of A1, etc. Now it's certificate in assessing vocational achievement, etc., etc. So that's what you're going to put there when you work. Now, internal verification. This assignment must be, when you design your own assignment, it must be internally verified. That is to say, the Council of Assessors must sit down to look through this assignment to see whether or not it will enable a candidate meet the criteria for the course. Because the way you design an assessment process must point to the criteria such that the candidate, when they answer it, they should be able to pass very well. Indeed, it shouldn't be vague, it should be clear. It's not a hide and seek. If I send you to go and observe a candidate B in their work environment, or assess the learning materials in any environment other than the workplace, I must give you a criteria and you must assess it, period. There's nothing to hide. So even the way we design our assignments, they must be clear. After you evaluate this assessment brief I'm giving you, if you feel it's confusing, let us know. We can improve on it. Are you with me? So when you design your role in the future, you must include things like this. The IVs, they will go look at assessment meets holistic criteria across the More than one unit? Yes, I think ours does. I showed you that because there's 3 assignments. There's assignment 2 here. Some elements in assignment 1 are here. This is assignment 2. And you see, there's also assignment 3 here. Some elements of unit 1 are here. Also, some elements of other units are also here. Can you see the criteria here? When you see a 2 in front, it means it's from the unit 2. So what we've done in this situation, we have panned across the units to find which criteria interlink, and we include them. Are you with me? So that's very important. You've got to look at that kind of. So this assignment will pass. Assessment brief is clear. Is it clear? Do you know what their brief is asking you to do? If you can answer yes, you can answer yes or no because you are the target audience. I can answer yes because I'm biased, I wrote it. But I think it's clear. Number 1, we want you to produce a document, 1,500 words, or recording or video recording, talking about what? The assessment process. What are you going to be looking at? All the assessment criteria listed in the table 1. And those have been obtained from the actual syllabus of assessing learners. A specific one, unit 1, unit 2, and 3, they've been spanned across to include other criteria for holistic assessment. It is, yes, assessment as clear learning outcomes from the standard units. Yes, the learning outcomes, are they clear? Are they clear from this assessment, from other units? Yes. From the standard units, yes, these are the ones, these are from the units, these are the learning outcomes. Once you achieve these, you'll have demonstrated that you have learned very well. You're a good student. You like it? I like it too. Right. We go here. It is clear what the learner has to produce. Yes, you have to produce, number 1, that word process document, video or voice recorded, and also assessment plan for each learner, which includes 1 learner with a special needs, evidence of initial assessment on learners, and a support plan based on the initial screening outcomes. There you go. It's clear. It's clear. So it can pass. It can pass. Are you happy with that? Okay. Oh, that's the end. No, there's more. Then we come back to yes, the release date is indicated. Yes, there's a field where you're going to fill the time when it's going to be given to you. The submission date allows enough time to work. Okay, minimum 3 weeks. So we're going to give 3 weeks a duration there before you submit the final piece of work. And also, let's have a look. The next bit is yes, the next bit is the author. The scenario is inclusive, gives more than 1 choice of activity or production. Yes, it is inclusive. It doesn't just say produce a word process document or produce a PowerPoint presentation or produce a video recording only. It gives you choice of more than 1. And not exclusive to that. If a candidate really comes to say that, look, I've got this method, how do you evaluate it and allow it if it's acceptable? Because each exam board will tell you the kind of evidence that they will accept. Now, the author is vocationally competent. Yes, D32, 33 qualifications indicated there. That's a vocationally competent sort of certification. So me, and for you, when you qualify, you also indicate you run on your own assessment materials that you produce, because we want to support learners such that when they qualify, they have been assessed by people who are competent, like myself and my team. The assessor is vocationally competent and has a minimum teaching qualification. Yes, I've got a PGCE, the big one there. So I'm qualified, and this will be in my actual folder, because what happens is that after all these items we've gone through have been presented to you, we also have people who come to inspect us, whom we call the external quality assurance personnel. They come from exam board. Okay, that's another level of qualification if you wanted to attain it. I'll just very quickly show, just write on the board so that you can remember this. That could be your next level from internal verification, from IQA, you can become an internal verifier, etc. We have, the process is, we've got assessor, which will be you eventually. You will be verified by what we call an internal verifier, IV, yeah, which is part of now the internal quality assurance to which board you belong. Then we also have what we call the external, EQA, okay? E stands for external quality assurance. They come from exam board. There are some guys, these people work as independent practitioners. They come from what? Exam boards. And they are also independent, really. They are also independent what? Independent practitioners. Okay? They go out rendering their services. They render services, yeah? They render what? Services to bodies. I just say, okay? Different bodies. Okay? Bodies. Yes, spell board. Sometimes. I passed all my English. My spelling is superb. Okay, so these just right up in the corner there, serves to different bodies. A EQA, just like yourself, when you become a qualified assessor, as you're seeing on top of here, qualified assessor, you can render your services to different bodies at your appropriate level. So that's the process. That's how the process is like. You have that chain reaction. So now, after we ourselves have done our assessment there, internal verifier looks at your work, then the internal verifiers are looked at by the EQA, external quality assurance. This is the process you go through. So all these assignments we're giving to you, they will be investigated, they will be examined, they will be sort of scrutinized. But we work as a team. Before we get to that stage where we think, oh, we're going to fail. No, we go through it by the process called standardization. We meet at least twice every year. One has gone already, the next one is coming this year in April. If you on this course after April, we've had a standardization meeting already, I suppose. God is going to help us in this, and I know that because you are on the course. Are you happy with this? Fantastic. Now, very quickly, I'll just compare these few. Assignment 1 is done. That's what you're going to do. Assignment 2, as soon as you finish that one, you're going to go on assignment 2, assessment methods and risks. And the criteria is laid in table 2, just like in assignment 1. You're going to look at all these to be met. And the brief is as described over here and explained over there. I want you to read word for word and understand it. The format and the setting is the same as the one we've done before. But in this one, you're going to do what? Look at producing what? You'll be focusing on the assessment methods and risks, okay? And like we said in the holistic assessment, some of the criteria, you'll have made them in Unit 1, Assignment 1. In Assignment 1, sorry. And some of the higher criteria, you'll meet them in the next assignment. Can you see? Assignment 2 actually also caters for quite a number of Unit 1 ones there, and also Unit 3 is there. Same outline, no confusing, one standard. Every assignment looks the same. We go to Assignment 3, look at that. Assess a candidate and record decisions. Now you assess a candidate and record decisions. It's a final thing. And alongside this, we'll do another assessment, which will be observation of your work. But look at that. Explain how to judge whether evidence is sufficient, authentic, and current. Part of this is in Unit 1. And when you come to Assessment 5.2 in this Assignment 3, you find that quite a good number will be found in Unit 2, 3, and 2. Can you see that? All the criteria that are related are brought into the context there. Similarly, you see 6.1 and across the board. So we have mixed all these units in terms of the criteria so that we can have an advantage of obtaining results in a way that is well synthesized rather than repeating things that could have been done a long time ago. So in short, the assignments are laid out such that you'll be able to meet criteria as the case might be. Now, you won't be given three assignments together at a go. Although they are on your disk, I'm expecting you to tackle assignment 1 first, then go to assignment 2, assignment 3, and in each of these there will be feedback sessions with your tutor. Now, before I sign off, I'd like to say, when you're on this course, you take learning in your own hands. And I trust that we have already now, as a matter of fact, covered the objectives which we said we will cover. We began by saying we look at identifying a roadmap for assessment. We have done that, and that roadmap is guided through the assessment briefs. We have described and explained the requirement to achieve or meet the criteria for assessment. Now the requirements are such that you produce the evidence which has been asked for. Evidence to hand in, that's what you produce, and to produce this kind of evidence, you must include details in those of the actual assessment criteria that you're required. For any piece of work without the assessment criteria covered cannot pass, no matter how beautiful or how excellent it looks like, or I don't know how much perfume you might have sprayed on it to what, it can never pass. If these criteria here cannot meet, if your work standard cannot meet the criteria, no matter how much perfume, I don't know deodorant, I don't know what kind of powder you put on it, it cannot pass. But what's going to make you pass is to make sure that the work you produce meets the given assessment criteria as stipulated by the exam board or the internal moderators for the course given to you. The course brief will have all those assessment criteria. I'm so delighted for you to have come on board on this assessor's qualification, and I trust that you will become very competent and you will support your learners in their work and guide them sufficiently well so that they will always say they were in the hands of competent assessors. Your journey begins now. God bless you. Thank you very much. For any questions, you know where to go. Ring us. Just go on the website as it appears on the screen or on your documents or on your Moodle account, the online learning account. Go and chat with your tutor there. You'll be provided with necessary information. Thank you very much, and God bless you.